How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am Tim Wagner.
Tim, we're doing a special, well, to us it's morning, just to pull back the curtain. We just got done watching the Bassmaster Elite Series debut on Fox Sports. It was on FS1.
Yep.
And so it was like a big deal for bass fishing. So that's actually our first topic. That's going to be our fishing topic before we get into our second half, the random take, our usual format. But this is a special Saturday morning recording for us. So that way we can talk about day 3 and the St. Johns River in Florida of the Bassmaster Elite Series. I'm training. Hopefully they'll give me a job.
The Bassmaster Elite Series. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk to these guys. I know that they know they're fishing and stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's that hard of a job. There were moments where they were just like said nothing.
And just let the audio roll, right?
You just watch it, and all I'm hearing is just like rain hitting jackets, and you're just like, I think I can handle that job.
Yeah, no, they definitely do a good job. Like, there's a lot of talking going on. It's 3 hours long for anyone listening that didn't get to see it. 3 hours, which is typical because I watch them I watch it live online on bassmaster.com, and it's typical. 3 hours long is normal.
Well, so yeah, they were saying that like it's the 3 hours on Fox Sports 1, and then they're continuing online, so you get the live coverage for everyone on Fox Sports. Well, I mean, it's for everyone online too, but they're like, here's a televised for you old people that don't know how the internet works, and then we're gonna continue it over here for the people who can figure out how online goes.
right yeah, and because obviously I'll just throw it on in the background and watch online. It's no problem. It's super easy, and their feed is perfectly fine on bassmaster.com and everything. This is totally a big deal because of like the mainstream, like you said, the people who actually like still click through the channels. It was actually for a cord cutter like me, is for lack of a better description. I kind of hate that description, but anyways, the point is like I actually had to like jump through a bunch of fucking hoops to get this live, so that way I could see it, because I'm so used to just going to bassmaster.com and just watching the live feed there.
Yeah, and I like Fox Sports. I think that they put out good stuff, but I think that's part of it because of whatever Fox Sports has going on with, I don't know if it's on their end or the other providers, but they seem to have beef with a lot of people. So sometimes it's hard to figure out where they're at. But I think Fox Sports 1 is everywhere.
Yeah,
Fox Sports North is the one that I'm having trouble with, because being from the North, that's where our sporting events get put on, because our teams suck too much shit to put them on mainstream TV. They're like, yeah, we got to give you your own channel because you're the only people who want to watch this shit.
Because the only people that want to watch this shit are the hardcore fans,
right?
All 8 of you.
Yeah, all 8 of you. Well, hey, I guess one positive is our team has more fans than wins. That's we're doing it. I'm talking about the Timberwolves here.
I know. Well, the Wild are always the Wild. They're very much just the mediocre medium team. Like, that's the fucking Minnesota team MO. Besides the Lynx, but even those teams have fallen into that rut too now, and it's just like,
right.
Yeah, we're just middle of the road. Like, only the 10 people, each broadcast gets 11 people to watch, because there's one person that only watches that team, and the other 10 people are just hardcore Minnesota fans. They just watch every game.
Right, watch everything that's out there. Just sport fans, or like hardcore gamblers. Just like, it's a sure thing to bet against the Wolves.
So, yeah, it was actually really cool though. See, again, big day for Bass, because they were on a Fox Sports network. They made the deal. I don't know if anybody listening knows, but basically, Bass made a deal with Fox Sports, and so now they're going to be on these live networks like Fox Sports networks and like it was today on FS1.
Yep.
Um, it was cool to see it alongside like the the Daytona 500 and shit like that. Like these
Right.
big sporting events. They were just advertising like, well, don't forget, tune in tomorrow. We're gonna have day 4 of coverage, and
Yep.
it's gonna be followed by like the Daytona 500. I was like, shit.
Yeah. The thing that kind of sucks though is the weather, because all of it's in Florida, and like all of Florida's raining right now. So the fishing was kind of slow, and they like didn't have qualifying for the Daytona 500. So it's like a bunch of like just like a slow day for all of it. So they're just like, yeah,
Right.
we're checking in with the Daytona 500. They're not going to be doing the qualifiers, so it looks like we're going to have to go to the rule books to figure out who's going to be starting where. Let's go over to fishing, and then fishing is just like, yeah, it's kind of a slow day. The weather changed a little bit, so it's a little bit, everybody's trying to figure out what the fish are doing today. So the one
Yeah.
thing I didn't really care for, and it's just a critique that I have, that
Mhm.
all the sporting events try to talk it up, not, I shouldn't even say sporting events. Like when it's a live event, the announcer's job is to try to make it seem like it's more exciting than it is.
Sure.
So they're just like, oh, it's been a great day of fishing and all this and that,
Yep.
and it's clearly been slow. Like
Right. Mhm.
I for the debut for the Fox Sports 1 stuff, where the people aren't necessarily seeking out the fishing, but they're just
Right.
like, oh, professional fishing, yeah, like
Right.
I've
Like,
got
okay,
into,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
keep it here on Fox and I'll
Right.
watch.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I got into fishing a little bit more this year because of COVID, like, everybody's doing
Right.
more outdoor stuff,
Mhm.
and then the announcers are like, "Yeah, it's been a great day," and everybody's kinda like, "This is a great day? This has been kind of a," it's like if you were watching football,
Mhm.
it it's like a slow game, it wasn't a
Right.
super exciting game. They were catching,
Mhm.
a couple guys caught some good fish, but it was relatively slow because it was raining and because the weather had changed from the
Yeah,
day
and
before.
yeah, and not only from the day before, but like as the show even, or as I should say, as the live broadcast was going on, even over the 3 hours, we saw different weather, right? Like it started and it was kind of foggy, maybe like a little morning dew sort of look. And then you hear the rain start to fall, like you said, everyone got out their jackets. You can hear it
Right.
raining on the raincoats and everything like that. And then it stopped again for
Yeah,
like the
because
last hour, last 45 minutes or something like that.
right, yeah, because it was literally like you could see the shower moving through and where they were at, because at the beginning, a lot of the guys had rain coming down on them right away, but, Gary Klaus ran,
Mhm.
like, over an hour to his spot, and
Yeah, that's what I had that down too,
yeah,
and he ran for an hour. It's like,
yeah,
holy crap. He said it was almost 2, I think he ended up saying.
that's nuts, yeah, but he had a spot that he was like, "This is hot, like, I don't need to fish here that much," because it was hot the day before,
Mhm.
but the weather changed, so it didn't pan out for him that great. He ended up catching one big one towards the end. I mean, they still have, I think, like,
Yeah,
half of their
there's
day
it's not
left.
over just because Fox stopped covering, like you said,
Right.
it still goes on. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
but
jumped on specifically to talk about Fox, so we're gonna miss that part. We're also not gonna catch day 4 in this podcast. Just this is our live reactions essentially to Bass's big network debut.
yeah,
That's the best way
right.
to put this.
Yep.
Yeah, so back to Klaus because he started on the day 1, and you're right. He was number 1. Sorry, he started the day at number 1 and
Yeah,
then ran to that same spot. Takes him almost 2 hours. And yeah, the weather was such a huge factor today, as we
yeah,
always talk about on the podcast, how much the weather affects the fish.
right, yeah, and they were kinda touching on it too, like, I mean, he ran up there, and when he got there, the point that I was making was that it wasn't raining for him, but it was raining for a lot of the other guys, because they were, they stayed close to where the takeoff was, and they were
Mhm.
fishing in the rain, and then he ended
Mhm.
up getting the rain later when nobody else
Mhm.
had the rain anymore. So, but yeah,
Right.
he ran up to that spot the couple days before there was more sun, and the fish were kind of holding tighter to the structure where the shadows were, and kind of like chilling in there.
Mhm.
And then you get that cloud cover to come in, and
Right.
now they kind of almost get like more brave. Like they don't need to hide, or if they're
Mm.
trying to ambush food, they don't need
Mhm.
to try as hard to hide. They don't need to stick to the shadows when
Right.
you know, I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it, if you were like trying to creep around outside, during the day, if you don't want people to see you, you got to hide behind stuff. At
Right.
night, you can run pretty freely.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I was watching it. So I started this was day 3. So I started watching on online as much as I could on day 1. And they were doing a lot of sight fishing before. I think where Gary was, this is why I bring it up, is because I think where he was like in like 10 inches of water or something. They said, I didn't get the exact number, but it was like really shallow. Like from what I understood is he was major league sight fishing
Yeah,
on that day,
he
or on the
was
first 2 days, I guess.
he was in some real shallow, like muddy bay, because all the fish right now are spawning down there. Like,
Right.
I know
Hmm.
some people might get that a little bit like, oh, what the hell? Like, they're spawning. Like, we have ice. Like, it all goes based off of the water temperature. And down there, like, this is when their water temperature is starting to warm back up to those
Mm.
spots. You know,
Hmm.
to so their spawn is happening now. Our spawn won't happen until May,
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe
Yeah.
April. You know, it depends on the water temperature, but most
Right.
likely it's going to happen in May, and that's why bass opener is a little bit later than the regular fishing opener, because our
Oh.
bass spawn is normally happening a little bit before or right about on regular fishing opener,
Oh.
and you're not actually, you can't keep any bass till
Okay.
later because they're a little bit easier to catch the big ones on the spawn, or
Oh.
not necessarily easier to catch them, but easier to locate them,
Okay.
but sometimes
Yeah.
to catch them too, because they they won't necessarily eat. They'll inhale a bait thinking that it's something close to their bed, and they just want to get it away from their bed. They don't want it to disturb their bed. So they won't eat it. They'll just pick it up, swim away, spit it out away from their bed, and then go back to their spawning bed.
Yeah.
So you can
And
get them to eat the lure, and they have no intentions of actually eating.
yeah, and like Gary Hackney was in the cypress trees, and he was doing that. He went on a tear there. He like got 5
Dude,
fish
yes.
within a little bit of time. Do you
That
see
was
that? Like
awesome.
that was
Yeah.
so fun to watch. And he kept saying that. He's like, "Oh yeah, they're spawning." And then you could tell he was looking straight forward, and he was completely fishing through his rod. Like his fishing
Oh yeah,
rod
you
was
couldn't see.
only thing he was doing to catch fish. That was his
Yeah.
feel.
And he was just going by where the trees were, and kind of just like, this should be, hopefully there's a fish here, and he was basically like pulling it through their beds, cuz there was that one where he had that fish, he missed it like 3 times,
Yep.
and then
Uh-huh.
he finally like got it. He kept feeling it like pick it up, and he's just like, "Oh man," like,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, I had to let it eat it." And I think it's probably that he kept kind of putting it in there
Mhm.
in the spawning bed, and it would kind of like pick it up and then drop it quick. And I
Mhm.
don't know if it was necessarily that he had to let it eat it, or he just got lucky on that one, but you know, it was almost
Yeah.
like that fish just kept going like, "No, you can't be here.
Right.
No, you
Yeah.
can't be here." Like,
Right.
this is
Exactly. That's like what you were saying is it didn't want to eat it. It was just like, "No, no, go away."
right. Yeah. And also like with the males and stuff, like I think he caught 2 bigger females, but
I think so too.
the males are known to not spawn within like sight of each other, but
Oh,
they'll
okay.
spawn close enough to each other if there's something, kind of blocking their vision.
Oh, okay.
They won't create a spawning bed real close to each other.
Yep.
But if there's a cypress
If
tree in between
in
them,
between them, sure. You
that's
can go to
why I
either
think he
side
got,
of it and you
yeah.
could.
And for
Mhm.
whatever reason, that pocket was hot. Like the temperature was right,
Mhm.
or whatever the ground material was there underneath the cypress. Like whatever it was, they were digging that spot. And I
Mhm.
think that's why there was so many in that little cove, because he had them all within that hour, because it was all within that like little section, because he kept fishing cypress trees.
Yeah.
And there was another guy that finally, I think it was like Mackenzie or something, started fishing them
Okay.
too.
Mhm.
But he was the one that killed it for that. He put his limit in the boat in an hour.
Yeah.
It was
It
just
was
bam,
just
bam,
it
bam.
yeah, it was really exciting to watch. It was fast, and it was funny because he threw it out, and that one that he was duped by 3 times,
Yeah.
ends up finally hitting, right? And he goes, all right, got the mail. Throws back out. Next cast, I swear to God, it was the next cast. Wham! Gets
It
hit again,
was.
pulls it in, and he goes, there's his girlfriend.
Yep. Yeah, he goes, "This is his girlfriend." He's like, "That's a pretty girl." And then he he even goes, uh I can't remember exactly what the hell did he say. He said something like, "Yeah, I like the way this one looks so much. I'm gonna give her her own jacuzzi."
Yeah,
And
yep, yep.
fires up the second live well and puts
Other
her in
live well.
there, puts her in there by itself.
Because she was big. Because they kept saying it like, oh yeah, there's a little male. We got a male. Oh, that's a decent sized male. Now I gotta go get the big girl out of there. It's like, what is you do you know what that means? You probably do, right? I
What?
don't necessarily completely understand why the females are bigger. They're going right back after the
Yeah,
female because they're bedding up.
yeah. The females are bigger, but the females kind of will hit like multiple beds. The male is the one that protects the bed. Like he
Okay.
creates the bed, he protects the bed,
Okay.
and the female just kind of like comes by and like chooses a mate, like lays some eggs there. The male fertilizes them, and then he protects the eggs. And she'll actually hit more than one bed.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh.
she'll have, you know,
Multiple
yeah,
beds.
multiple beds, but she doesn't stick around to make sure any of them are soft or
Okay.
safe.
Yeah.
She kind of like swims, and you know, the way they mate, she lays the eggs and then he fertilizes them. It's not like
Yeah.
a love thing like us. Like it's not like they're
Right.
actually like connecting. She's like swimming up to him and she's like, "Yeah, I think you could protect some of my babies. Like here's some for you." And then she swims away and finds
They just
another
drop
one.
off some eggs on the bed and
And then
then
she's got to sweet
okay.
talk the next guy like, "Yeah, I didn't want to tell this other dude, but I think you'll be able to protect my babies better than him. So I'm gonna give most of my eggs to you."
So it's kind of luck that the females are or that the female was there, I guess, in a sense,
Well, a
huh?
little bit. Like when you find those spawning areas, the females can definitely be on the bed too.
Okay.
It's just that the males will stay in a spot. Like you can go past and like
Mm,
see somebody like one of them sitting on a bed and they'll be there later.
right.
Like there's one, I can't get him to bite. I'm going to go here. I can come back later. He's still going to be here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So stuff like that. And there always could be another female there, that comes in or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
But
And they're gonna be bigger during the spawn, I'm guessing, because of the eggs, or do they normally run bigger
no,
anyway?
they just run bigger. Yeah, females are
Oh,
just
okay.
bigger than males, just in
Okay.
general. Whatever, most fish are like that, if not all. I don't know about all the species, but for the majority of them, like the females get bigger than the males.
Okay. Interesting. And
Yeah,
so it was fun for me. I get to yeah. I mean, we're still talking about bass, but whatever. To get back to the actual broadcast is like I was in a way I thought that maybe the announcers were going to switch it up and I don't want to say explain more because I don't think that's the right term, but they were they were not getting into like mainstream elaboration of fishing. Like they weren't changing the way they broadcast from bassmaster.com to the way that they
yeah,
broadcast on Fox. And I don't know if that was good or bad because obviously being on Fox, it's entirely about trying to get a new audience or just draw more people in and be like, hey, that's
right.
right, we fish. It's a
Yeah,
big deal. Like there's a lot of money involved in shit.
yeah. I thought like just like how I was talking to you here about it, they
Mm-hmm.
could have done because they clearly know this stuff. Like
Oh yeah, you can tell that.
when it's a downtime and they have like nobody saying anything and you're seeing like two guys just like moving their rod because they're bouncing the jig through where they're at, and neither, you got
Mm-hmm.
two guys not catching fish and you have the announcer saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like that'd just be like,
The
like,
perfect time for like what we just did
yeah, oh, here,
almost.
you know, one of them just be like, "Hey, what are they actually doing here? Like, why are they where they're at?" And just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, this time of year it's the spawn,"
Yep.
something little like that. But
Yeah.
I did. My favorite part was like, um, right before Greg went on that tear with those 5 fish.
Mm-hmm.
That guy kept talking it up, and he's like, "I don't know if this was like in post slightly because I know it said it was live, but they were
Mm-hmm.
clearly like this was moments ago. Every once in a while,
Yep. Yep.
and
They do kind of a replay, like a throwback, because you know how live broadcast goes. Sometimes they're watching somebody, and then during the live, somebody else is catching, and
right,
so they have to do a little replay backing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Hmm.
he's kind of talking it up, and he's just like, oh, Greg is gonna be, this is a good spot, and he dropped a line that I started laughing at because they show him like catch his first fish, and his first fish is
Hmm.
maybe like 2.5 pounds, like not a bad fish.
Hmm.
And he's like re-rigging his, it's kind of like a creature bait, looks like a, has two claws on it like a crawfish, but it's a little bit thicker, and he's fishing it Texas rigged. So
Hmm.
Texas rig would be like he's got a bullet weight in front, and then there's the hook, and then he's got that soft plastic, and it's basically just kind of like something that looks like it's, shouldn't be there, so the fish should come and pick it up and try to get it out of there or whatever.
And
But
you just saw this, right?
yeah,
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 you're picking this up visually. Nobody on the show is saying this. Yeah, you
right,
just did.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Nobody's
Keep
saying
going.
exactly. They, I heard him uh, say that the other dude was fishing a wacky rig, but they didn't say anything about this guy. But what he did say when he saw him rigging it up is, I put this down. I made a couple of notes. His exact words, "Oh, it's going to be a fun day with that filthy little possum."
Yes, I remember that one too.
I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be a fun day with that filthy little possum.
It's funny because I had a quote down too, and I just loved it. And it's exactly what you were just talking about when he said that one guy was fishing wacky rig. He
Yeah,
goes, missile baits, no weight, just wacky rigging it.
yeah, miss a base, no way, just wacky rigging it. Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I just loved it. Like I heard
yeah.
those words and I was just like, that's good. I gotta write that one down.
Yeah. I think Missile Bait is the brand, if I'm not mistaken. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I've seen missile bait all over, so
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
that's what I
know
was
if it
gonna
had
say.
anything,
Like
but he just said
I've never.
just wacky rigging it.
Yep, yep. And all that is just a worm, and he's just got the hook like in the middle of it. So when he's pulling it through, it
Oh,
almost
okay.
swims like
Mhm.
a. God damn it! Forgot to turn my phone down.
Whoops, phone's on.
Uh,
Hey, it's hard at the spur of the moment or like these quick goes. You forget things.
right. But yeah, and all he's doing is just kind of pulling it through the water, and it makes the for lack of a better explanation, it makes the worm almost swim kind of like an octopus, just kind of like
Oh,
bends at the middle, and kind of the two ends of the worm come in as it kind of gets pulled up.
yeah, yeah. It would be like it's almost like the tentacles of when your description of the octopus. It's kind of like the two ends of the worm are like the tentacles when they push down to swim away.
Yep, yep,
Nice, nice.
yeah, and that
Um,
kind of came about when
Go
I
ahead.
think when I was younger, when I first started fishing. Like the
Really?
wacky rig was new, yeah, real new, and I tried doing it a couple of times, and the the fish on the lake I was fishing just didn't seem to care for it as much as me just rigging a regular fluke,
Huh?
making it look like a dying minnow. They seem to enjoy that a lot more. But
Right. Weird.
I mean, dude, it's all over the place. Like down south, they use that June bug color. Like some of them, it was hard to tell because the lighting was off, but
Yeah.
some of them use that like real dark blue metal flake kind of
Hmm.
in the baits and stuff. And I've never
Yeah, it's
used
like
that
a
color up
midnight
here.
blue bait, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what
Yep.
yeah, I know what
I
the
don't.
color you're talking. Almost
Yeah.
purple.
Yep. And I don't use that color here.
Just not at all. It just doesn't
Yeah.
play.
I mean, you could
Huh.
probably catch a fish, but
Yeah.
that's definitely not something I use. And down south, like if you don't have that color on some lakes, people are like, "The hell you doing, boy? You don't have no June bug?"
That's crazy to think about because the I don't know. I'm just thinking about when um, Gary was fishing that mud hole, but I guess the water is clear. Yeah, and that would, yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it a lot, and I don't have a clear thought, so I'm just gonna stop and and uh and go into the broadcast about how like this was still a big. What did they say? 50 people were still in the tournament today. They had almost 99 people at the start of the tournament, down to 50 today, and only
Yep.
10 make it into tomorrow for championship day.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
holy shit.
You get eliminated. Yep. They eliminate each day. And tomorrow is I'm really curious to see if that rookie makes it, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another funny part with the rookie where um it's just because of their names, and it was just because of how it was edited or whatever.
Uh-huh.
As they're showing, you saw how they would show the map every once in a while, and they kind of have
Yeah,
like
to
a
like show where everybody is
yeah,
on
that was
like
it's super cool like that. Like they show like a 3D map kind of at an angle, almost like you're in a plane, but
mhm.
then they have like the guy's face with his name on a little like placard, so you can see exactly where everybody's fishing.
Mhm.
And as they're zooming into the rookie, they have him and the other guy right next to each other, and his last name is New. But because of how they have it colored, like the first name is colored in yellow and the bottom uh last name is colored in white, and they're almost in
Mhm.
their own boxes.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, and the rookie, and it says New under his name, so it looks like it's a label. And the guy right next to him's last name is Gross. You're just like, oh, there's the new guy, and over there's the gross
There's
dude.
the gross. Oh, that's great. I didn't catch that exact. I mean, I saw it, right, but it just didn't hit me the way it hit you.
Right. It was just for like a split second. I was like, haha, looks like labels. And then I was just like, clearly that's their last names though. Cause the
Right.
rookie, I wasn't familiar with his name. He's a rookie.
Mhm.
I did hear of him before, but it was
Okay.
one of those that jogged the memory for just like, oh, new guy. Yeah. Oh, wait. No, that's right. His last name was New. I remember hearing, like, thinking
Right.
about that the first time I heard him. The rookie's new. That's weird.
That's pretty great. Uh, with the so talking about the people in the top 10 and the rookie, that'd be cool if he does make it. It's always fun to
Yeah,
watch a
he was in
rookie.
fourth when they cut coverage.
Is that when it was? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, that's kind of where I was going. That's perfect. I swear, people, you would think we set these things up, and that's just me and Tim's back and forth. This is how we work. Um, that because we had the. I think when they cut at the end of the 3 hours, Brian Schmidt was still in first place, and that dude caught one fish. And this is crazy. How there's 50 people out there right now. Only the top 10 make it. This guy was not in the running. He was not in the top 10. Puts one fish in, goes from like 24th to first place.
Yeah, because you catch a big one.
Yeah.
I think he was the guy that had the 7 pounder that day.
Yeah, I
But
think that's what it was.
they didn't end up having any cameras on him, which sucked. You only get to see
Yeah,
like a couple of people.
yeah.
Where the
And could
sport's
could
just
you
not
pick
big enough. There's just not enough money to have a camera crew on every single boat.
right, again, 50 people, like,
Right.
you can't. I mean, even in the top 10 day, if I remember correctly from last year's, catching up on the tail end of last year's tournaments, I don't even think the 10 people get cameras, because, yeah, it's just expensive. I mean, camera person, camera, right? You got your sight boats, the drones are out there. If you didn't see those, they kinda took them when the rain and wind, they weren't flying the
Oh
drones.
yeah, yeah,
But at
exactly.
the very early time before the rain actually hit, you could see they have their drones out there, so they have drone operators and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, you can't give 10 people all that, like, money and infrastructure. It's just super, super expensive.
How cool of
So,
a
yeah, it
job
does
would
kinda
that be?
stink when you see that.
Just to be like, yeah, I'm traveling with the Bassmasters circuit, and they're just like, oh, you a fisherman? No, I fly the drones.
Yeah.
Like
It'd
that's
be fucking sweet, right?
yeah, I'm sure you have like way more to your job than just flying the drones, but like that
Right,
just
right, right.
sounds dope.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be the one camera operator that gets to do the drone and, yeah, all the background stuff that goes with that, making sure it's charged, keeping it moving, getting dropping the footage. I would bet these
Right.
guys are editors too. I bet you all the camera operators are more than half of them are editors too.
Yeah. Or they're like guys that are like professional drone flyers, Like
Mhm.
they're the ones that compete, and then they're just
Oh,
like sign them on to just be like, "Hey, we need somebody that knows what they're doing to come and fly." I'm sure they don't even I I take that back. Now that I think about it for a second, I'm like, yeah, they don't need anybody that can make like hairpin turns to fly a drone
yeah, I
300
was
feet
actually
up in a straight line.
right. Yeah. No, I was going to say that too. Is no, they are specifically trained cameramen because they have that camera like eye. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah,
they know
right.
how to frame a good shot, and then they also know how to frame the shot and move the drone in a comfortable in a comfort. in a comfortable manner. Because drones can move very quickly and it gets hard to watch sometimes. So they are like licensed pilots essentially, like they're licensed drone pilots. It's a
Right,
weird thing.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
looked into it.
Yeah, I'm sure they have to be licensed because of um like if they go, I think that don't they have, or maybe they don't have any. I thought they
What's that?
had some uh spots in Canada, but maybe they don't.
What's that? What do you mean?
Cuz in Canada you have to have a license to even use the drone.
Oh, like you can't have a wreck drone even?
Right. No, you have
Wow.
to, yeah, you have
Like it
to
has
have
to be registered with the government.
yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I learned that from Peter McKinnon's podcast. He's a
Oh.
kind of a photographer, film
Mhm.
dude with a
Okay.
YouTube channel, and he's got like for a while there, he had to have somebody else come in and fly. I haven't watched recently, but he had to
Mhm.
have somebody else come in and fly his drone for drone shots because he didn't have his license.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
I know that you do here even for like commercial operations. So technically speaking, if you're filming, for something, you do have to be licensed, and that's why I'm like, yeah, these guys are definitely licensed because this is a professional operation. Now, me and you can go out with a drone that we just buy off the internet and shoot something really quick, and more than likely nobody's going to do anything. But because there are regulations and stuff in place that say like you can't fly your drone this high,
Yeah.
you can't be within this distance of an airport. If you are, you have to call it in, and here's how you call it in. Like, there's a lot to it actually, and that's why for a commercial operation, they're just straight up like they just hire a person that's got the license to prove they know how to do all that shit.
Right. Yeah, that totally
It's
makes sense.
be a dope job, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think I covered everything here about the Bassmaster. It was cool to see it on something bigger. I expected them to adjust a little bit for Fox versus online, but it was like, nah, we know what we're doing. We just signed a deal with the network. So we're just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought that they'd have like a little bit more like graphics, or they'd have something special planned to do something a little bit different,
Yeah. I
you
was
know.
expecting that too and in a way it was cool that they're like, "Oh, I don't know, we're veteran operation. We already do this. We're good. You just want to broadcast our shit." But then on the other hand, we know why the deal is a big deal. Again, we've said it multiple times already, is it's a new audience. And yeah, I was kind of hoping that Fox would throw him a bone and maybe an extra motion graphics person or something like that, like you said.
Yeah, right. And I'm not trying to hate. Maybe they even did, where they're like extra motion graphics or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, how about this?" And the people at Bass are just like, "No, what? This no." They
Too
have
much.
people that aren't fishermen that are just like, "Yeah, here's
Ah,
I made you guys a 3D bass jumping out of a water." They're just like, "We don't
right.
want that bullshit."
They're like, get that corny bullshit out of here.
Yeah, it's
No,
just
we don't want it.
we're
Yeah.
gonna use footage of real bass jumping out of water. We don't need, so, but like I said, like if they just would have hit you with a little bit of knowledge of like, this is the spawn, you don't, they didn't have
Yeah.
to go into like why are they doing what, but to just be like, why are all the people fishing super shallow today? Just
Mhm.
to be like,
Mhm.
the fish are spawning, that's why they're here.
Right.
But yeah, I
Which
couldn't
the
believe that uh Greg was all by himself up in those cypress trees. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah, they were
shit.
saying that too. The announcers were like, "What?"
Dude, I mean, he was the only one on the actual lake. Like, all the other ones were up in the creeks and the actual river
Mhm.
part of it.
Like in the river
Cause
part of it,
yeah,
almost, I
cause a
think.
lot of them, cause a lot of them will run up into the river to spawn and stuff. Cause it'll be a little bit more sheltered or whatever. But for
Mhm.
sure, all those bass aren't running all the way up into the river. Like,
Right.
there's going to be some that are just going to go find shelter. And it's like every
Mhm.
single person had a different idea than him. He's like, I'm just going to fish the main part of the lake and go
Yeah.
hit these cypress trees. And I couldn't believe nobody else did that because that's like the shit of my dreams, man. I'm looking at that spot he's fishing and I'm just like, oh my God, like that's for sure where I'm going fishing. And it's not like me trying to be like I know better than all these bass fishermen. It's like
No.
you just show me all the spots. Like, oh, this guy's fishing this grass patch. This guy's fishing this big open, weird muddy flat. You know that he had to
Mm-hmm.
run 2 hours to. This guy's fishing
Mm-hmm.
these cypress trees. What do you want? I'm like, I'm fishing those cypress trees, man. That looks awesome.
That's great. And for I guess like fuck it, we'll keep going. I thought I was done, but now you got me talking. When because you could so he was like flipping in those trees,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Uh huh.
and could you like does it as someone like myself who just is like, yeah, I'm watching fishing. I don't know, wait for it pulling a big bass. And I think there's a lot of people on FS1 today were this sort of outlook. For someone like you already said, hey, they zoomed in far enough. I could see what he was setting up for his rig. Like I could see what his Texas rig that he had on, right? Like they
Yep.
weren't saying this from the announcer. You caught it with your eyes. So what about with the same? What about the rods and the reels and stuff like that? Like was he switching? I didn't even notice, right? I'm just watching.
Yeah. No, he had the same one the whole time
He
with the
did.
set. Yeah, with a setup like that. He's probably got like a 7 foot at least rod,
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit longer, and then probably a fast gear ratio because
Mm.
it allows you to move, without having to reel up. When you have a longer rod, you can kind of like just barely tweak your wrist and it makes it bounce a lot, and you can work it, a good 5-6 feet on one flip without ever having to turn the crank of the reel because of how long
Dang.
the rod is when you're just kind of lifting that tip. And then
Oh,
with the
sure.
fast gear ratio, because the gear ratio directly correlates to how fast it turns. Like a 5.3 to 1 gear ratio is a
Mm-hmm.
slower gear ratio, and that is 5.31 or 5.3 turns of the actual spool
Jeez. Yeah.
versus 1 turn of the handle. So he's probably fishing something that's in the realm of like, I think now they're up to, some of them are like 8.39.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he's probably fishing something like that because he could, when he feels that fish, when Gary was fishing and he's moving that reel, he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, oh, I feel it. And
Yeah.
as he feels it, then he can point his rod at the fish, turn the crank once, it picks up all that slack, and then he can give
Oh,
it that big hook set that he was doing.
yeah. Yep. Which he
So,
commented on too. He's like, I just love setting this hook.
right, right, right. Because he knows that there's probably a relatively good sized fish on the other side of that. Like in
Yeah.
Minnesota, sometimes you got to be careful. I see some of those guys online, like taking a big step back and setting the hook,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to pick up the slack that way almost. And it's like, come on,
Oh,
guys, you don't need
I
to.
got
You're gonna rip the whole face off of that fish.
you. Oh
Some of
God.
these people are just the way they set a hook is just crazy. And
Yeah.
then you'll see people on Instagram like rate the hook set, and I'm just like, they're like rate the hook set 1 to 10, and I'm like fucking unnecessary. Like you get no numbers.
You didn't
Just
even get a number.
that was just stupid. And I guess I don't know. Some of those guys are a little bit smaller too. Like I'm a pretty big dude, so I don't not trying to be
Mm.
like I'm fucking just a man, bro. But like I can set the
No.
hook pretty hard without having to take a step back and get my
Roll
whole
your
body
whole
into it.
body into it so it looks good on camera.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. And that's uh the rules. I want to bring it up. The rules of bass are that you must catch them in the mouth, and obviously Gary knew, like you were talking earlier, is he knew that this bass was like picking it up and spinning it out and picking it, and it was being very like dainty. It was not just hoof and taking it in. And I learned this earlier in the week when I was watching is bass rules are you have to catch it in the mouth, and then that's when they made the sight rules. Uh, or they were talking about the sight fishing that a lot of people were doing, and then they said about the rules like, yeah, you got to catch it in the mouth, and I'm just like, well, obviously what Gary was doing was all by feel, so he's obviously having the bass suck it in and stuff like that. But like, is that a thing people do in outside of tournaments? Like you cast out and snag a bass in the side? Like what is I
No.
was just like, this is weird. Why do they say mouth catch?
It's just I think it's more of a technicality, so you're not allowed to get a big fish off of a fluke. Like
Oh,
that it's not,
huh.
cuz sometimes you'll be fishing it and they'll come at your bait but not commit, and
Okay.
some of them will almost like charge a bait. And every
Oh.
once in a while you'll catch a fish where it's hooked like under the chin instead of actually in the mouth. That's not legal. You can't catch.
Oh.
Yeah, so they didn't actually commit to eating your lure, but they ended up getting snagged on the hook somehow.
Ah.
Yeah, and every once in a while you'll catch them and I can't remember ever catching a bass where I've caught them in the side, but multiple sunfish where you like all of a sudden, the hook's on like the bridge of their nose or
Yeah.
underneath the chin, and you're like, what the hell? Like they think about
Right.
eating it, but then they just never technically grab it.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it's just stuff like that. And like sight fishing, I've tried it before off of docks when I was younger. It's
Hmm.
next to impossible to try to just pull a hook across the fish and snag it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that being said, there are certain fish like the um paddle tail, not paddle tail, that's a grub. The paddle fish, I think,
Uh-huh.
or maybe it's like a
Okay.
sawbill or something.
Okay.
There's
Yeah, I know
some
what you're
there's
talking about.
some weird ass fish in Minnesota where you only catch them by snagging them.
Really?
Yeah, you go to the
It's not
river.
like the gator garp or anything like that, is it? Because I think
No, we don't
I don't know
have
if they swim up
we
this far north though.
we have gar, but not gator gar here. There's gar in
Got
Minnesota, but not the gator gar like they have in the South. But
Yeah,
you
in the
literally,
Mississippi way
yeah,
down, like at the in
yeah,
the opening of to the sea.
yep. But some of those fish you literally snag, like they're on the bottom, and you just catch out like you cast out like a weighted treble hook, and you just
And
drag
that's how
it.
you bring
Yep.
weird.
Yeah, I've never
I've
done it
never
before, and I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not gonna talk about it any more than that because I don't wanna
Sure, sure.
put out too much wrong information, but I've heard
Right.
other people talk about it, like, "Yeah, dude, you
Huh.
just get your hook and your weight, and you cast it out there, and you snag them, and then you just hold on because 'cause they're big old fish,
Huh.
and you cut hooked them in the back, so they're just gonna run. They're gonna fight that thing
Weird.
for hours."
Right, right. Yeah, 'cause it's completely confused. It's no idea what just happened.
And you can't turn it around. If you snag it in the back,
Oh,
it's like a strong man with a backpack on.
right.
Like pulling that jet, like you just can't stop it. You're like, "Damn it, can't turn him around."
Oh, that's great. All right, man. Well, I think we did enough on Bass on Fox and its debut. It was cool. It was fun. It has its highs and lows. It was mixed reviews, I think, on our part because we were hoping for a little more oomph from
Yeah,
Fox on the broadcast.
it was still good. I just thought that like when the Super Bowl has the teams come out, there's like more of a story, like this team
Hmm.
and that team, and they're
Right.
gonna go at it and the gridiron and like just
Hmm.
all that different shit. And
Yeah.
I was just like, thinking that maybe there'd be a little bit more to it. It was
Yep.
still good. I'm not trying to hate on it.
Yeah. No, for
I just
sure.
thought there was gonna be a little bit more theatrics involved, something to make it more exciting, but they just
Yep.
it was the same as always. But I guess
Right.
if you've never seen it before, you're like, "Oh, that was good coverage," something like that where
Sure. Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that we have the same thing as we just it was you put it really good and it's not on Super Bowl level because not to like maybe playoff games or something like
Right,
that where
or when you actually get to the Bassmasters Classic, like, that's the Super Bowl of the fishing, so that one might
uh,
have more
right.
theatrics. This is basically the season opener, but I still
Yep.
thought it'd be a little bit more.
Yeah. Yep. I think me too. So again, it was good. Just I think we had our a little bit higher expectations given that Fox was we thought Fox was just going to throw a little bit more at it
Yeah.
and they just let it be a bass show, which hey,
Yep.
whatever.
They were just like, "Don't fix what isn't broken," and I can
Yeah,
respect that, so
sure, exactly. So, all right, man. Well, let's get into our second half here, the random take. We are going to talk about fail videos, or bloopers as we call them as 90s kids. But I mean, fail videos. That's today. Am I right?
Yep.
What are you going to do? All right, man.
Fails
Hit it.
is bloopers.
Fails is bloopers. Now to the break. And we're back here in part 2, our random take, the Relay FTV podcast, the fish about random takes from the 10,000 lakes. Oh, God, I fucked it up. Whatever, man. That's what we're talking about, though, this time. We're talking about fail videos. So there's a fail fucking podcast edit for you.
There you go.
So here's our random take. Part 2 is fail videos, because as I said before, you've sent me some goodies lately on Facebook, and now that it's winter, so I may get out snowboarding this year. I doubt it. It's just going to be hard. Like, who do you find to watch your 4-year-old daughter, 4-month-old
She's growing
daughter,
quick.
so you can go snowboarding? It's just kind of one of those things where I feel like a fucking asshole pawning her off just so that I can go have fun. Like,
Yeah,
even
dude.
to
Like,
grandma, I'm like, ugh.
I kind of feel the same way even about fishing with just
Yeah.
like my wife. Like, all
Oh,
right,
sure.
you watch our son in the house and just you guys have fun. Peace. And but I haven't gone yet, so
Right. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's so fresh that, like, I don't know. I feel like already you're gonna pawn her off on me. It's only been 4 months. Like, that's what I think they're thinking in their head. I gotta stop putting words in people's heads and just like let it happen. But anyways, where I'm going with all of that is fail videos. The thing that made me think about it is some of the videos you sent have been like skateboarding and stuff like that, and I've
Yeah.
been playing skateboarding. I have a skateboarding video game that I've been playing, and thinking about snowboarding and all this stuff. It reminds me of blooper video. Like, we used to call them blooper videos, or the bail section, right? And now it's just
Yeah,
like the
dude.
internet is just taking over and just like fail videos, which
Oh
is so
yeah.
fucking negative, dude.
Dude, it's like if I'm having a bad day or if I'm in a bad mood or whatever, and I just know I need something to go to change my shit around, just like I'm just grumpy, or like even sometimes I'll have like anxiety, like where I'm a little bit worked up and I just got to get
Oh,
my
sure.
mind off of shit. I'm just like fails, because it'll just, and the compilations that are out there now are just like fail after fail, and it just takes you out of reality for a while
It
because you're
really
just
does.
watching these people eat shit and you're just like, whoa, whoa. Love
I
them.
feel like this is how YouTube got popular, was just the fail video compilations. Like, that was like the thing that took YouTube to the next level. Besides replacing MTV, it was just like fail videos all day. Like,
Oh
watch this
yeah.
compilation, just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, because I think there was some funny videos out there where people are like, have you seen this, Charlie kid biting this other
Oh, yeah.
kid's finger, and, stupid shit like that.
Right.
But then the ones that really were like on fire, were not necessarily like one video was, you got to see this. It's like that compilation where
Right.
everybody's just like sharing it with their friends. Like, watch all these
Yep.
people eat shit.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was the way that YouTube became a thing to everybody, because there used to be the old, like, pass this video around through email, and you'd click on the sketchy link, you never knew where it came from, and everybody was getting fucking viruses and herpes and stuff. And somehow people were catching herpes in the 90s from those emails. I don't know how, but it was happening. But and then it was just like, yeah, well, you can just go to YouTube, and you can see all that, and it's like 10 minutes long. Like, what? How
Right.
long? Now I get it. It turns your mood around because it's funny. It's funny a lot of the times. And this is like how I swear to God, YouTube, I don't know how or if America's Funniest Home Videos is around anymore, but YouTube is just America's Funniest Home
Yeah, dude.
Videos without the stupid fucking voiceovers.
AFV is still out there because then
It
they,
is.
yeah. So AFV is out there. Plus, they put out stuff on YouTube that's like officially AFV branded stuff because they can make money
Oh,
off of that shit just like anybody else.
right.
So the only stupid thing is that the people that are sending the videos into AFV's taking it and putting it on their TV show. They're putting it on their YouTube channel.
Yep.
And they have a channel that's like automatically, like, we got a new little TV not too long ago, and it's a
Mhm.
smart TV, and it came with some stuff on there. There's literally an AFV channel that's like, just
What?
like, it'll be like, here's fails.
What?
Here's people getting scared. Yeah, like it's just a small time AFV channel that like loops everything.
What?
And you know what these people get for sending in this clip, making all these money for AFV? They get a fucking t-shirt.
An AFV t-shirt, dude.
Yeah, yeah, AFV is making all this money because they did put it in a compilation, and if you put the video out there, somebody else is probably gonna put it in a compilation, and you're gonna get your shit jacked. But if you have a fail that's funny enough to make it on America's Funniest Home Videos, just put it on your own channel and hope that you can get
Right,
some
and just wait for
AdSense, or like, I'd rather, even if it was like $12, real
yeah,
money, I'd
right.
rather have that over an AFV t-shirt.
Could you just wire me $12? I need a pack of Coors, so, I'd rather have that. This fucking
Right.
t-shirt doesn't do shit for me.
Right. I don't care about this t-shirt. Doesn't even fit. Got
So,
one of those
I
weird,
started
like,
off. Oh, go ahead.
European sizes. It says like triple X, and you're like, this is a large at best.
Damn it. So, they said at the beginning, like, I fail videos has like, it has such a negative connotation to fail, right? Fail videos, and, like, I think some of them are, like, pretty negative in the sense of, like, "Ooh, I don't know if I like that one." Like, the ones that don't make you laugh, but you saw it anyway sort of situation, you know?
Right. There
Like,
are a couple where I'm just like,
the nail like,
oh
if someone
shit.
catches a knife or something like that, or, like,
Yeah.
just fucked up shit where you're just like, "Ah, I kinda wish I just didn't see that." Like, that part of the fail video, I'm not a big fan of,
No, I don't
but
like that either.
everything's just called a fail video now, so you can't get around it, and that's a thing, right?
Yeah. That's the other thing too about how fast they come at you, where like you easily forget about the one before. Like you'll see somebody like on a bike that like wipes out hard and their head bounces off the concrete, and you're like, oh, that dude got
Ooh.
seriously hurt. And then like the next one, somebody wipes out funny, and you're like, forgot about that other guy already.
Forgot it. And it helps change your mood again.
Right. But
I
it still takes you out of whatever you're, that
Oh, for
that
sure.
moment of like, oh my God, and then like
Yeah.
it takes you away from whatever you're trying to get your mind off of.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh,
why I like it.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, and, like, that's to bring it around to fishing, because again, we used to call them bloopers. That's, like, the '90s word for a fail video is a blooper, and
Yep,
fricking Bill
bloopers.
Dance, dude, was, like, the blooper king in the '90s. I swear, he was selling just blooper videos, like, you just buy a VHS and it had
Dude,
nothing but
I
Bill Dance
yeah,
bloopers on
I have well, my dad has a VHS Bill Dance blooper video. It's the best. I love it. I'm going fishing with Bill Dance today. Like the most simple intro song to it. And god damn, that guy was
best.
accident prone. Just everything. Putting his fishing rods into ceiling fans, closing the rods in the tailgate of his truck, trying to do like a little promo spot where he's talking about what they're gonna be doing today, and like hooks his thumb bad because he's got
Oh,
the, yeah.
god.
The best one though, the best one, get on YouTube and find it. Bill Dance has one where it's so preposterous that it almost seems staged, but he's got uh the old school trolling motors didn't have like the foot pedal. It had the hand crank like you would have on the back of your boat, which would be a transom mounted trolling motor. So you would, they had it where you would drive it like you would like a tiller motor, where you just
Mhm.
twist your hand kind of like a motorcycle
Yeah, but
propulsion
it
or
was, like,
whatever.
hanging off the back
Yeah,
of the boat, sort of, and
right.
you would steer it because you'd still move the motor right and left,
Yep.
but the throttle was like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in the day, that same one could go up in the front. They didn't have a foot pedal for you, so you'd have it and you'd like switch the head around or whatever, but you'd still control it the same way with your hand. And
Yep.
like a bolt comes loose on the front, and he's got like the trolling motor like high powered, and it's trying to pull the boat, but it comes loose from the boat. So now he's just trying to like wrangle this this trolling motor just going ape shit on its own, and it's just hopping around in the water, and it like it's turning all over the place because it's not set steady. That's
He's
my
essentially wrestling this trolling motor. I know exactly the one you're talking about. It's so fucking funny. He's just yeah, he's wrestling a trolling motor.
yeah, dude. He's just trying to wrangle it. The thing's just running all over the place. It's going so crazy he can't grab the handle to turn it off. He's just trying to stop it from taking off and going into the water.
Just yeah, he's trying to do everything he can to not lose his trolling motor into the lake.
Yeah, and he's so many. He's fallen off the front of his boat. He's fallen in the water from shore because he's been trying to fish from shore.
Yeah, yep.
He's got one where he's on the dock and he's got a battery, and he tries to like swing the battery around into the boat, but for some reason he doesn't look at where the boat is, and the guy that was with him like moved the boat on him for whatever reason, so he turns around to swing the battery in the boat and there's just no boat there anymore. And the look on his face when he realizes like, oh shit, and there's nothing you can do. That battery's like 50 pounds, the momentum's already
Right,
going.
right.
And his reactions were always like he'd like land in the water and he'd try to like compose himself and take off his Tennessee hat because he was always rocking the same Tennessee hat, and
Oh,
he'd
he still
just
does.
yeah, he'd just say something super southern like "daggum it."
And this was a whole tape. You could just buy this. I remember
whole
seeing the
dude, a whole
infomercials for
tape
it.
is like it's like over an hour long of him fucking up.
It's the best. That's like that was like my intro to professional fishing. It just entirely. That was just how it happened. You just see these infomercials for get the Bill Dance blooper tape. I'm
Right.
like, what?
Right. You've seen him
Oh,
catch fish. Now see him wipe out. Or whatever they'd say.
bang.
Yeah, right. Use the old school, just stupid ass sound effects.
Right.
Like a they have like a car horn from the 1900s. A snake falls out of a tree onto him, and it's just like, "Ooga." You're like, what the fuck? That didn't make any sense at all to put that sound there.
But that was how it worked. That was the 90s. That was a fail video in the 90s.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god. Well, and also like there's this so about the word fail. It's just like there's failure's part of it. That's how you learn. Like when they're called the bail section, right, of like skateboard and snowboard.
Yeah,
All the extreme sports is they call it the bail section. And it's just them trying to learn a trick or do a trick or pull off a trick and something goes wrong. It's the same thing that Bill was doing. He's like a composed good fisherman.
right,
He's not there because he sucks, but like you were there, you shot it. We're putting it in the video, and it. Well, yeah, sure, it was a failure, but you learn a shitload from it too. I mean, maybe not the boat swinging in the boat battery thing.
right. I mean,
That
after
you just
you
yell at your friend. Hey, what the
right,
fuck?
Yeah, I think he probably only broke his rods in the tailgate that one time. He's like, "Well, learn from that situation."
Right, exactly.
He broke like 3 rods that day too. Like, there
Jesus.
goes like $300, maybe like
Oh,
450.
right.
It could even be more than that. I mean, if you're talking like St. Croix rods, it could have been like 300 a pop. Like,
Oh my
just broke
god.
$900 worth of rods.
Right, like, there goes a G just slammed in the
Yep.
tailgate. Oh my
Good thing
god.
he's sponsored and probably didn't pay for him in the first place.
Right. He's still around. I follow him on Twitter, with the
Oh,
Real
yeah.
AF TV account.
Yeah,
He's still around. He's still
he's
doing
still
it.
doing his thing. Yeah, but he fishes like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Bill Dance. Like, he's earned the right to just go do what he does, but he
Do
like
whatever he
fishes
wants.
his own private ponds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not hard for him to catch bass these days. Got like
You know, he's
10-pound
been getting out he's
monsters.
been doing a few, like, different fishing. It seemed like he was traveling. I just never have enough time to, get through a full video because I
Yeah, I
only
guess
scroll through Twitter while I'm on the can.
okay, yeah, I guess I should say, like, I haven't seen any of his recent stuff. It's probably been about, like, I don't know, 5 years since I really tried to watch
Sure.
his new stuff.
Yeah, I think he made
Because,
it seems like
dude,
he
like,
made a pretty
out
big comeback during COVID, like,
okay,
they relaunched his YouTube channel and stuff like that, and, like,
okay.
got him on Twitter, and so it seems like since COVID hit, they kinda rebranded and relaunched, and he's got a new seems like a new show. So, sorry for all the Bill Dance listeners out there that are like or Bill Dance fans that are listening. It's like, I don't sit on one thing for a super long period of time unless it's a podcast, right? Right now, the way that I have to deal with social media.
Yeah, and when my as far as my, fishing shows go right now, like, when I have time to sit down and watch fishing, I like to learn. Not saying that you can't learn from Bill Dance because he does a really good job on his old shows. He would like he doesn't hide anything. He's like they literally have a section where they're just like, here's the water temperature, here's what we're
Mm,
fishing, this is the time of year
nice.
that we're fishing today.
Yeah.
Here's the equipment that we're using. He'd literally be like, I'm using this rod, this power,
Mhm.
I'm casting out this crankbait. Like
Like,
he
really go into it.
yeah,
Nice.
he'd tell you everything he's doing. Um but when I have time, I subscribe to Bass University. So it's either Bass University or just searching YouTube videos for the specific fishing I want to do,
Right,
that weekend. Like right now it's ice fishing, so I'm,
right.
trying to research on
Trying to brush up
where
and get
right, where I should be going, where
Mhm.
where the fish are holding, trying to figure out why the fish are where they are right
Right,
now.
right.
That's what I'm trying to brush up on. So
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
against Bill Dance, but he's only fishing like from what I remember, he's only fishing for bass down south. So not really
Right, right. That was
not
his
really
brand for
fundamental.
sure, right? Or I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if it is. Again, it doesn't appear that way, but yeah, I get it. Like that's how you build a brand. I mean,
yeah,
what are you
dude,
gonna
that's
do?
what people
That's
want to
do
watch.
something good. Yeah, for real.
He's not the only
Uh,
person that's made a living doing it either.
yeah, for sure. That's no joke there. Uh, so I guess I still haven't said anything about Ozzy Man, and I want to because he's been a recent find for me. He's been doing big stuff, but the reason why I want to bring him up in the fails video section, not trying to just like get away from Bill Dance because it's a fishing podcast after all, but we do random takes, and that's
Yeah,
that we go everywhere with the random take. That's the fucking point, so we can have a
yeah,
little enjoyment.
and it's our
Uh,
podcast. We do what we want.
yeah,
We
share it
talk
with your
about some
friends and
fishing.
tell them that.
Yeah, we talk about some fishing, and then we talk about some shit that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear us talk about some shit, then tell us what you want us to hear or what you want to hear us talk about. I don't know what I was, how that got screwed up in
I
the
got
last
you.
time.
But yes, look us up on the social media. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, REELAF TV. Just look for it, Real AF TV. If you search it, it should pop up. I've had good success with it.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah. Or even hit us up in the comments on YouTube. That's easy enough. Everybody's got a fucking Google account, right? Put
Yeah.
some shit in there. Well, maybe we'll use it on the next show.
Comments on
Um,
whatever. We're active on everything. We'll for
right.
sure see it.
Yeah, no doubt. So Ozzy Man, I mean, first of all, just his Australian accent, right? I mean, that gives him an uptick. But it's funny
Right.
the way the internet just has sort of added commentary. And this the reason why I'm bringing up Ozzy Man too, well, because I wanted to, but it brings it back to the AFV thing, is because you remember the original AFV with Bob Saget, and he's always just like, I'm a cat. I'm a cat. I'm gonna climb up this
Right.
screen.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me climbing a screen. And it's like that's what Ozzy Man is doing now, and to the sort of the internet in general, right? This commentary sort of thing or era that we're in, where you're just like people who aren't the directors are doing director cuts of movies. It's
Right,
like
right.
watch this movie, and I'm just going to talk about it. I mean, that's how Kevin Smith basically makes his entire living. Not exactly, but kind
Yeah.
of now. Uh, but just something about a freaking Australian accent in a fail video, man. It makes me fucking laugh so hard.
Well, that and they don't hold back and they say like I love I love the vulgar language. I don't
Right.
I don't like it when people hold back. I want you to talk. Like
How
it's
you
funny.
talk.
Yeah, it's funny to me when you talk like that and when you don't hold anything back and
Yeah.
they're just like plus just the language itself out there. Like I know it's English, but they like just use different words.
Different slangs.
Yeah, different slangs for
Yep.
different things that are happening, and it's just like it puts a completely different spin on it.
It really does. It really does. So I bet you if you look at his analytics, it's almost like entirely Europe and America, because we find that shit funnier because the Australian slang just adds to how funny it is.
Right.
And also, so this has been my favorite one as of late is people failing on ice because he's Australian. It's just like ice is foreign to this person. Essentially, he's like, and he just starts it off with, "Wow, it's winter in the northern hemisphere again," and and right away you're just like, "Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
yeah," and just people fucking up on ice for 10 minutes with an Australian talking about it. It's
Right.
like, yeah.
Yeah, and all he gets to see is them eating shit, like, that probably doesn't even know what it's like.
Right, yeah. No, that's part of the funny. Like to me, that's part of the funny. Is like this dude just lives in a fucking place where it's basically warm all the time. There is no such thing as ice naturally occurring, essentially.
Right.
So to hear and know that that exists in the world, that someone down south who's never seen it before just goes like, "Hey, look at these northern folk just fucking giving her their best." Oh, I think it's great. As being one of those northern people, I think it's very funny. So, anyways, I don't have any more thing on fail videos. I just really wanted to talk about fail videos and laugh a lot with
Dude,
you, Tim.
I love fail videos, and like Josh said, the Ozzy Man, you should check out his stuff. Like, I've been following along with him for a while, and I think the real introduction, the one that made me fall in love with him was he's got the one where there's a like basically he watches like wild videos that are interesting already by themselves.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, with AFV, it's just like there's a nut shot, there's a nut shot, there's a
Right,
nut shot, and you're
right.
just kind of like, yeah, okay, first few nut shots were funny. We don't need
Yeah,
a nut shot compilation. You're
yeah,
kind of beating it into the ground. I wouldn't watch this by itself.
yeah, and they'll narrate it and try to like throw in some hacky joke.
Yep.
And just like, hey, dad's stepping up to the plate and oh, looks like he got a ball one or something, some stupid. He just like, yeah, ha ha ha.
Tim, hold on a second here. I don't want you to be taken away from the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes, to go right for AFV. You need to take it down a notch, okay? Because you're going to get hired off of that fucking joke. So
Oh no,
let's
they
bring
won't
it
bring
back
him
to
up.
Ozzy
They
Man
got
and
they
stop
got
writing
they
AFV
got
jokes.
Carlton. They got Carlton doing that job now.
Oh, that's right. That's
Alfonso
right.
Ribeiro.
He writes
But
all his own jokes.
yeah, the it wouldn't be hard. I just I just, I just freestyled that one off the cuff. Did you give me a little bit to think about it? I'm sure I could come up with something.
But yeah, you're right about Ozzy Man, though, is the videos he's watching are just interesting, like, you just watch that by itself
Yeah, and
for the most
right,
part.
exactly. Like the one that sold me on it was there's a turtle swimming in the water and there's like some pigeons and the turtle ends up eating and killing the pigeon. Like just
Yeah,
snaps it and like
yeah,
grabs it.
I've seen that video by itself.
Yeah, just that video is like, "Oh my god, that turtle just ate a fucking pigeon."
Right, yeah.
But like the Aussie man like starts it off and he's talking all docile and he's just like, "Hey, look at this turtle." He's like, "It's just swimming around, nothing to see here. It's not that big of a deal." And then just like all of a sudden it snaps the the pigeon and kills him and he's just like, "Ah, fuck, I take it all back. It's a fucking murderer. Get out of the fucking water." Just starts losing his shit. It's so good.
Right. It's so good. And that's the again, with the, "Hey, it's a fucking matter." It's like, that's just how this guy talks. That's just a normal reaction to it. It's not like, "Look at this turtle. Here's a turtle. Oh, he ate the bird." Like,
Right?
that it's not that fake stuff. It feels like a genuine. I'm sure he has, like, take after take until he gets a good one, but, like, you just go, "But that's how that guy probably talks." Like,
Right.
it just feels natural.
It's probably first fucking take, man. He probably just hits the button and starts watching it and just goes, "Holy shit."
'Cause that's how you react to it too if you watch the video by
Right.
itself, like, you're thinking that in your head, you just don't
Yeah.
say it out loud, and he does
Right.
it for you in a sweet accent
Yeah, he's got another
with
one.
different slang.
Yeah, he's got another one that I remember watching where it was like a bunch of girls and it was like a stripper competition, and they
Mhm.
had all their clothes on, but they're, like, doing,
Yeah, it's just
like
pole dancing, but
yeah,
yeah.
pole
Yeah.
dancing and stuff, and just to hear the different terminology was cracking me up, and like, there was a girl that, like, was on the pole and, like, dropped from a distance into, like, a split, and he's just like, "Ah, look at this Sheila here with a dead bomb splitty," or whatever, and you're just like,
Yep,
"What?
yep.
What did he just call it? A dead bomb splitty?" And
Oh,
calling them
yep,
Sheilas.
calling them Sheilas, yep, yep.
Look at that Sheila.
Yeah. They totally do that, like, it's just normal how they speak, like, we caught enough while we were down there for our honeymoon, caught enough of just regular local TV, and they're like, "Yeah, that's how they did it."
Right.
It was like, local Sheila gets caught in sewer drain." You're like, "What?"
Local local Sheila. Yeah, dude, it's there's so much interesting stuff, like,
Yeah, it's great.
you should check it out too, but I just listened to, Ryan Sickler is a stand-up comedian, and he's got the Honeydew podcast,
Oh, okay.
and on that podcast, like, his thing is, like, they always say that they highlight the lowlights, like, these are the stories that made the storytellers is what he says, so it's, like,
Oh, hmm,
kinda
okay.
these comedians or whatever, and, they play, like, the backstory, and, God, I can't remember, what is his name? Jason Ellis. You know Jason Ellis?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Jason Ellis, super interesting Australian dude,
Oh, okay.
where dude, he's pansexual, so he literally
Oh,
will fuck anything, and
anything. Yep.
you should listen to that episode because he's talking about some wild stuff, like when he was younger, where his, like, dad's friends, best friends, like, they're all trying to have sex with him. And he's like,
What?
"I'm out on this boat and, like, she's trying to suck me off," and all this stuff, and he's just talking about this crazy stuff, and I just started laughing at this story because he's just like, "Yeah, so I'm in there and she's trying to suck me off, and then I come out and this dingbat over here, she's trying to, like," and and just listening to the whole story, you're like, "Holy crap." But he's lived a super interesting life, man.
Yeah.
I definitely suggest giving that one a go because he was like he's sober now, but he was addicted in that like a little over an hour podcast. They go over his drug addiction and how he had a wife that was like legit abusive to him, like with
What?
Superman punches to the back of the head while he's sitting on the
Oh,
couch and shit. And
what the fuck?
yeah, dude, I would definitely give that one a listen. That was one of the most interesting podcasts I've listened to in a while, because he's just talking about like, yeah, my first wife and me, we got divorced because I was having sex with this 500-pound lady that had a apartment, and we would go over and there's all this shit, and he's just like, we go over there, and he's like, she had a room there, and Ryan Sickler jumps in, he's like, I bet she had two, because how big she was. Just, uh, good times.
Oh
But yeah,
shit.
enough promoting somebody else's podcast here, but that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but
Why don't you share our show with somebody and help us out, get us out there? The Real AF TV podcast, REELAF TV. Check us out at realaf.tv. Just find all the links there. Am I right, Tim?
yeah,
Everything's on the website.
yeah.
If you're having trouble finding us, just go there.
The website's the easiest way to find any of it, if you
Yep.
if you want to, because the logistic of it,
Yeah.
some people had some of the shit we were trying to get, so
Yep. And some things didn't work out with the dot because some places wouldn't take the dot
right.
and things like that. So yeah, we kind of ran into a little bit of a social media, but our handles are Real AF on all the social medias. It usually works, but if you go to realaf.tv, it takes you to the website. All our links are there. Share us, follow us, do all that shit that everybody on the internet's asking you to do, and we're vying for your attention.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
Maybe
truly appreciate it, and remember, 2 E's. That's how you find us.
that's right.
2 E's. REEL.
REEL. So that's it, man. Fail videos. I had a great laugh. My freaking jaw hurts now from laughing because I was just smiling so much. It was great. As fail videos tend to do, as you said in the beginning.
That's what it's
Just
all
change your
about,
mood.
man. Yep. It's my go-to when I'm having a
Nice.
bad day. Some people are like, when I'm having a bad day, I just like to watch a puppy cuddle a kitten. I'm like, nah, dude, I want to watch somebody eat shit.
I want to watch somebody slip down a driveway slowly for 15 seconds and then fall on their ass.
Right. You know what'll brighten my day? Watching an old man fall for 30 seconds before he actually goes down. Pinpointing the